Mr. Martin.
How's it going?
Good. Look at you. Looks a little breezy where you're at.
Yeah, if only had a margarita and I was actually there.
For sure. How are you, man?
Keeping busy.
Oh boy, that's the eternal yeah, that's not a that's rough. How is
It's
how how is
going.
staying yeah, how is staying busy treating you?
It's going.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing after another.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, you ready for a change?
Oh, God, please.
Okay, all
About
right.
time.
Dude, I know, I hear you. I know, I'm scared
Got
but
my three
excited.
letters. Where's my $1 million?
What'd you say?
I said I got my three letters. Where's my million
I
dollars?
know. I wish that were the case, man. I wish that
Uh,
were how it's going. It's funny right now because I've been putting out a bunch of content, and it's
mhm.
funny actually that you say that because the comments I'm responding to, not that I have a ton of them, but it's
Yeah.
on a video of people want their time more than money.
Hmm.
And it's a bunch of people talking about how much they work and how they don't have anything for it.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
kind of and I was like, I know, I hear you. We're working on it, or
Yeah.
whatnot. So,
Yeah.
um, man, I'm super stoked about this. Okay, what does Evan say? What's he saying? Be there in a second or something.
Mm.
Be there in 1 second. Um, I'm really stoked on this. I did this earlier. I started this process earlier. I have
Okay.
another agent. There's another agent that's already contracted. I know. Well, I've got a partnership with my IMO, and the ones
Right.
that don't fit their deal, they're like, oh, I didn't even tell you this. I told Evan, but so I had a conversation with my IMO last week, basically
Okay.
about this, basically about focusing on agency building, and it kind of came on the back of, they had some agents that they wanted to send this way. So it was like, okay, here we go. We're fucking diving into it. I am
Okay.
pretty stoked on it. We'll play it by ear, but I mean, this is it. We are now at this place where it is like, okay, focus on this. And I am really going to be focused on agency building. So, like, focusing on you guys.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put those three
So,
stepping stones. Yeah.
yeah. So before I kind of just want to wait till Evan gets here to really dive in. But yeah, that's kind of yeah, that is where we are at. So, did you get a chance to look at that training?
Um, I have I've seen the email. I haven't actually opened it and probably will take it a proper gander.
Okay, so that answer is no, which is okay.
So
That training is definitely something that we need to jump back into or jump back through. It probably took, actually, I didn't even finish the whole thing last night. I wanted to go back through it because
okay.
I was working with my I'm working with the IMO because this is their training, and he's like, yeah, I wanted you to go through and I wanted you to kind of check things, and so I wanted to go back through, and it's like, dude, this is very good, very, very, very solid. Like um I was impressed. I was
Okay.
definitely impressed. Oh, Mr. Evan, hello, sir.
What's up, man? How's it going,
uh
Ben?
How's it going?
Nice, dude. I like that shirt, looking clean.
Thank you.
We were just talking a bit about the training course. Did you get a chance to look at that?
Yeah. Yeah, I went into just a couple of the lessons. I didn't dive into the whole thing, but yeah, from what I got to look through and scroll through a little bit, it was pretty thorough and like really, really good information. To see it all like condensed and color coded and organized like all in one
it
place was pretty cool.
it's impressive. I mean, I was pretty impressed. What one did you do? Did you just start with final expense?
No, I skipped I think it was something about finance or something about training for finance. I don't exactly remember the
Okay.
one. Let me
Okay.
pull it up.
Um,
Hmm.
Or just language or literacy or something like that. I didn't know if they were like, I didn't see them actually numbered. They were kind of in order, if I remember right. Like they were in some squares, but it didn't have anything that was clear to me that was like start here or anything like that. But
no, I
I
don't know. Yeah,
could be
I
wrong.
didn't. No, I don't think. Oh crap, that's not what I wanted. I'm trying to pull it up. The one that I went through, and mine might look a little bit different than yours. Actually, Ben, are you like signing up for this thing?
Yes, I was just sorting that,
Okay.
log in, make an account.
Okay.
So now it looks like I'm in.
Okay. Will you share your screen? Am I? Yeah. Will you share your screen?
Surely, let me learn this new Zoom
Oh,
stuff
oh,
'cause it just
okay.
updated. Um,
Oh, gotcha. But you are, yeah, dude, because I was like, we've done Zoom.
yeah, it's just different. Oh, share. Right there. So I guess, I'll share my whole screen. What the hell? All right, how's that looking for you guys?
Oh, there we go. I can see it.
Okay, that's what, can you scroll up? I just want to see all of the ones that you've got. Okay, so they, okay, no, they do look the
Here's
same. Okay. And so,
1 second, Seth. I'll be right back. I got an alarm going off or a timer going off,
oh,
I
okay,
should say.
okay,
One
okay.
sec.
Perfect. Okay, Ben. So this one here, I haven't even dove into all of these things. I haven't dove into all of the resources yet, but down at the bottom, the My Training,
mm-hmm.
I would imagine 12 lessons, final expense. These are all like pretty important. I have a bunch of my own training as well that I want to be going through with this, but, and I did these quite a while back, but I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start at the very beginning. I would definitely recommend. I mean, definitely just start with the beginning here. Welcome to the key. These don't take that long. I mean, I don't even think,
Okay.
I can't remember. I don't think they even take like an hour. We're not doing the ones I would do begin here and then life insurance 101. I just went through the life insurance 101 yesterday, and it is everything you freaking need to know about life insurance as far
Okay.
as the just a life insurance without the product specifics, and without
Okay.
sales. It's so thorough. I was so impressed.
Hmm.
This is, you know, you will meet Matthew at some point. You might have talked with him, but he has a tendency to sell himself a little short, and it really is quite impressive what's already been done here. So Evan, what one did you go through?
So it was actually it was marketing and lead generation basics.
Oh,
Hmm.
That
okay.
was the one that I had started on.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, well,
yeah,
I'm
I
glad.
mean,
Okay, well, I am glad that we are jumping on here now because I definitely
yeah,
want to go through this together. I don't want to necessarily start today, but I'll just kind of bring you guys in on this, or explain to you what I'm trying to do. So this is the training that the IMO gives. It is
Okay.
very good, very thorough. I have done begin here, final expense a while back, and then I just did the life insurance 101 last night, and very thorough. I definitely want to take advantage of this. Let's refresh ourselves. So, how do you, this wasn't exactly where I wanted to start. But at some point in time, I really do actually kind of want to like work through this together, and going through it, seeing how the training actually, like, it's just starting right here, saying, does this make sense? Do you have questions? Is this a good process? Because
Okay.
there's really not a
yeah,
lot to this industry. And the amount of information that is sitting on this page right here is quite phenomenal. So I guess what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say is
it
like,
looks pretty well put together.
It is quite, it is. And it's quite a valuable freaking asset. So like we have zero, we really, guys, like seriously, and I know like I have a lot of kind of imposter syndrome on this, but we have so many more resources than almost than anybody else, starting with this right here. So I just really do want to make sure, and I feel like my job as the agency owner is to just ensure that we are all taking advantage of this. So I
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want to take a look at this. Let me see here. I don't remember how long it takes. It's a several bits. Why don't we, if we can, okay, what do you guys think? What would you prefer? Would you prefer to do this on your own time and then we can come back and talk about it a couple days later, or would you prefer to take the time together? Like we'll sit down and I don't want to do it right now because I have other training that I have other overviews, but this is actually going to be like, you know, this is one of the very first steps. So I want to get this going, but also at the
Yeah.
same time, I want to know kind of what you guys, I want to involve you in this process. So what feels the best? Do you want to go through this together as a group? Do you want to do it as yourself and discuss it later?
Looking at it, I mean, for me, what kind of makes sense off the top of my head is doing kind of the majority of it on our own time, and then maybe like a few lessons, like maybe 3 or 4 lessons out of each of these categories, which looks like they all have multiple lessons. We would do like in the meetings, and kind of in addition to doing a few lessons together, we would kind of just do the recaps of all the ones we did on our own time, kind of thing. That's what kind of makes sense to me, to like we do a couple lessons from each one of these programs, or whatever you call these, each one of these categories, maybe, just so we're all at least getting like familiarized, you know, in a few out of a few sections. But I think for the most part, doing it on our own time makes a lot of sense. But I'm honestly open to either way, so it depends on what you guys also think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys have actually gone through with the different lessons, so you guys actually know how it's kind of broken up. But I mean, my initial thought is just kind of doing our own time, then kind of, come back together, kind of discuss
Okay.
it, and maybe have some questions, share with the class, kind of a thing.
Okay.
But it's kind of a we'll see once we actually dive into the deep end.
Okay. I just, not just, that is fine. And we will go through this. And right now we'll kind of play it by ear. And I am still trying to figure out this training because I also have a ton of my own training that we are going to dive in and we are going to work to together. But I feel like one of the things I really am going to try to offer here in my role is just some structure and some timelines and some accountability. And so like on these things, and not just that, if we're going to hit it, and we'll jump into this a little bit, but it is, we are now, and I'm assuming, it sounds like all of you are ready, but like, this is it. This is the official start. And so it is going to be like, okay, now this is going to require time commitment, and commitment as far as like, if we're going to do this, and I really am trying to do this as a team. So, just kind of understand that. Also, I say that, very much as I'm like, duh, duh, duh. At the same time, we're all figuring this out. If we haven't made that, if that,
Yeah.
What's their favorite professor's line? We're building the ship as we fly it.
yeah, pretty much. Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly to it. So, but this is right here, guys. This really is phenomenal. Why don't we? I mean, can you get this done tonight? Can you get this? Okay, first of all, and I'm jumping the gun a little bit. Well, I have all the other training planned. I don't have this specific part figured out. I want to come up with a regular meeting time. Maybe why don't we just discuss this now? And especially at the beginning, I would like to do it regularly. We do have another East Coaster. He's probably, I mean, actually, I won't even say probably. He's a lot more experienced in sales. And he can go full time, and he's kind of chomping at the bit. I've already kind of gone through this. He already did the training, but he's kind of,
Oh, sweet.
So I've already gone through. We had like an hour meeting and we just jumped into it. I have a lot of this stuff to digest, but you know, I do want to figure out how we can do this as a team, not just individuals.
Yeah.
So Ben, obviously you have prior commitments. So we'll work out however we can do this. You know, the problem is he's 3 hours ahead. But for the time being, can you guys commit to meeting tomorrow as well?
Same time?
Yeah.
Whatever works. We can do something different. I need to talk with him too. We don't have to coordinate right off the bat. Ben, you're the one, kind of tell me, you know, the two of you. And I was hoping to
Yeah.
have somebody else join, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest constraint is I'm scheduled for my role 7 to 3:30.
Mhm.
Call it 4:15, 4:30 is when I
Okay.
consistently get home.
Okay.
So really, work with anything after that, basically.
Okay. What can we try tentatively? Can we schedule 5 and I will see if David can join us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
5 p.m.
gonna say I do have something going on in the evening tomorrow. It's not like a firm commitment. I could definitely make this work instead. But if he's not able to do the evening, then I can make a morning work or afternoon or whatever. Like if we have to do it in 2 groups or something, I mean, I guess that kind of defeats the purpose. We're kind of trying to do it all at once. But I could make anything work, but
Okay.
morning is preferable if we are doing that, or if he needs to do that. I can meet him in the morning. The
Okay.
East Coaster, I mean.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fine. I mean, I know what we kind of just, there wasn't any definite start. That's fine. I just needed to
Yeah.
know that. We'll work on that tomorrow.
If he's like, yeah, dude, I'll meet at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. or whatever, then I'll be there for sure. But
we'll figure.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really trying to get up. Yeah. I mean, we'll figure that out. We're gonna make this work
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not really trying to get up super early and kind of teach fucking life insurance early in the
Right.
morning. I gotta warm up into that. But okay, but what I am trying to figure out, obviously, what I'm just trying to get here is get into a regular routine, because I do want to, I am trying to support, and I do think a big part of this is going to be team. Either way, we'll figure out the details later. But can we definitely get through just the beginning stuff by meeting time tomorrow? That welcome kit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it sounds like that doesn't take too long.
It shouldn't. I mean, and these are not like difficult things. This is not a course. This is not a challenge. This is a nice reminder. And that in particular isn't that's like success in the industry. So just kind of, I'm just trying to recharge, trying to also just get back in, starting to realign, getting more commitment into a calendar, starting to commit to certain timeframes, because the hard part about this industry has nothing to do with selling insurance. It is really holding yourself accountable and putting in the effort, because you're solely dependent on yourself and keeping yourself accountable.
Right.
I have zero authority over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
I'm still listening.
Yeah.
I have another alarm going off, but I just gotta flip a burger, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
But 1 second.
Yep. Okay, so that's where I want to start. I do want to systematically work through this. I also do want to kind of kick butt as much as possible. So I definitely want to get through the welcome. And if we can start on the life insurance part, that I went through it again last night, really impressed. I mean, it was very much, it tells you in a very succinct view, but also thorough in everything you need to know. Within just those few things, and it goes really deep into term at the end of it. You are better prepared than most agents out there as far as just the general knowledge in life insurance. Very good, very powerful. As you're going through it too, please, I want you to also write down every freaking question you have, and really just also approach this understanding like this is the preparation, as far as like when people are going to ask you questions. Now again, obviously, this is the preparation, this is the foundation, so be gleaning this for your own benefit. Okay, Any questions on this? Everybody's in here. We've all committed to being able to get through the welcome part by tomorrow's meetings, and we'll iron out tomorrow's meetings. Evan, did you hear, if we can do that, great. Next one would be starting
Yeah.
life insurance 101. So if we can just crank through these are just good refreshers.
Yeah.
That's definitely
Life
number one.
insurance 101 is the one you want us to have done by tomorrow, you're saying?
No, we'll just start with the welcome. We'll start there.
Oh, with the
Start with the
welcome.
welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. And I really
Um,
do want your questions and your feedback too, because part of this as well
Okay.
is like, if we can improve the training, like, let's just, let's kill two birds. We're all in a continual process and partnership of getting everything as well as good as we can.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other questions on this training?
cool.
I don't think
Okay.
so. No, this.
Okay. Switching over to my training, like the specific stuff. And a lot of what I'm about to say is probably going to be just, you've heard me say it multiple times, but this is going to be in more of a formal way. And Ben, I'm going to steal the screen back, and
No, go for it. I'll stop sharing.
that's all right. So this was just what I put together. You're looking at new agent training, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to go through this again. This is what I went through with David. Just want to get all on the same page. Basically, the overview is I want to start. I've written out like the culture of the agency that I really want to create, because I think these are the things that I'm trying to really emphasize more as the culture, the agency, the brand, really so much more than just the tiny aspect of what this job has to do of selling insurance. I really do think these are the things that will carry on much, much, much farther. So this is why I'm starting here. So we'll go through the culture, just kind of onboarding, which is just kind of a big overview of what is available. Then we will dive into the lead plan, which is probably where we're going to spend most of our time tonight. And then from there, I can, we have the sales process. We'll talk about technology, sales training, and then insurance training. So we can kind of look through these, every bit of these things. So under sales training, we are going to be talking about script writing and ethical training, sales principles, the process, objection handling. We are going to hit it. So there is going to be a lot coming through this pipeline. We've already gotten a jump on the insurance training, but as the agency owner, I am going to dump every freaking bit of knowledge that I have into you guys, and I am going to try to get you guys over like the hurdle of making money as fast as possible. I think that is one of the big things in this industry. So there is going to be a rather intensive, as fast as we can move through this within reason, like I am trying to really, really jump in. Yeah.
Long time coming.
I know, it's finally here. Thank you for your patience. Any questions on that right there?
No, dude, it all looks good.
Okay. I know I
to me.
switched. Okay. Okay, let's dive into this. And this is the single most important thing to me, which is the culture. Understanding how, this is like just the internals of everything that is important to me and this agency, and for anybody else that is a part of this. So at the very, very top, and I know we've talked about this a lot, excellence. Okay. Now, this is obviously what we're striving for. That isn't really, I don't think there is a standard where we say, hey, we have reached it. So it's always just, committing to the fundamentals, finishing a job 100%, being honorable, doing the right thing, every single time. Honesty, transparency. There is so much garbage in this industry, and there is a lot in here when it comes to sales and with these types of things and things that we're going to be dealing with, where I don't want to say they're gray areas, but it is, there's a lot of moral calls. Here we're dealing with people's monies, and there's not necessarily right or wrong answers. So just honesty and transparency the whole freaking way through. Just keeping a clean nose. This just makes life so much easier. So these are super freaking important. These two I'm really excited about because these are my own personal twist on things. Assertive positivity and aggressive encouragement. So these are things where as a team, I think one thing in life and in business, but I think also just in life, really having a team that can hold you to high standards that we've all agreed to. And part of that has to do with assertive positivity. So like when you hear somebody like being negative is actually realizing, being like, oh no, okay, I actually have to step up and be like, hey, let's, and not being, you know, this foo-foo like, hey, yada, you know, like not toxic positivity, but actually being like, hey, you know, this is hard. It does get hard, but whether you whatever you focus on is where, you know, your outcomes are going to be. And then the aggressive encouragement is on the same aspect of that. You know, like really getting into people's faces, because energy, not necessarily on a hippie standpoint, but like, but from
But
all of
kind
the
of.
standpoints, but kind of from a sports
Yeah.
standpoint, from a psychological standpoint,
Yeah,
just
no, reframe things makes a difference.
yeah,
But yeah, just like
Yeah.
helping reframe things or to like bring certain things to light, just like, you know, a
yeah,
pat on the back, you know.
yeah.
You know?
And these are really, you know, this is for the team. This is for everybody in here, because this isn't particularly easy. You know, this is simple, but you know, we're kind of, this is a different adventure where you only get paid on your merits, and we're all basically starting out on so many things, and there are tons of highs and lows in this thing. So and more than anything else, you know, on here you'll see there's not a lot here that has to do with money. These are the types of things that I think, you know, if we can focus on these, the fruits of our outcomes will be beautiful.
Yeah.
Other things, you know, reaching our potential. You guys, we have had a lot of like talks, and I've been on like friendly terms and all of these things. Now I'm going in, not that I won't be friendly, but as the agency owner, you know, now it's my hope and my goal to stoke the fires and really get the potential out of you. And not, that does not mean 80-hour work weeks. That means like holding you to a standard that you agree to, holding you to these excellence, to, you know, the honesty and the transparency, and like, hey, if you're going to do these things, you said you were going to do these things, I'm going to hold you to these things. And I do expect this will be a challenge. This will be a challenge for all of us. That's what I am hoping. And I'm just trying to lay that stage where I am really, really hoping the opportunities that come from this industry are ridiculous and phenomenal. And I think that so many people fall off because these things aren't in place. So, you know, just also being able to commit to that and knowing like, hey, you know, we're here. And I would not ask you guys here if I didn't think that you had a lot of potential. I wouldn't be wasting my time. So, hard work. I mean, that is just so important to me. I think it should kind of almost go without saying, but I'm going to say it. And I'm going to say it over and over and over. Like, this is pretty much in this industry. This is the beautiful thing about it. There are two things you get paid for: your talent or your effort. And at first, we still have to build the talent. So the effort, if you can do this, you will be very, very well taken care of financially. On that note, pick your struggles. There's going to be a lot of struggles. Embrace the problems. Celebrate the overcoming these things, because these are things where, you know, I do not want to treat you as like low-level employees or desk jockeys. There are going to be lots of expectations over and over and over, and challenges over and over and over. Let's dig into it, because you can either struggle trying to figure out what the hell to do, or you can struggle doing it. I saw a great picture a while back. It was a split version of a person. It was like AI, and it was the same person. One of them they were like super in shape and like jacked, and the other one, they were super overweight, and it said struggle or struggle. So what struggle do you want to have? Yeah. So let's pick the good ones. Let's pick the ones that bring us the skills that we're looking for. This one here, I know, Evan, we do a pretty good job at this, continually asking why. That goes for myself.
Almost
There's
to a fault. Yeah.
yeah. This is okay. You know, this is great, but this is part of it. this is part of it, is always asking, because guys, we are actually doing a lot of new things. We are so much of this is new, and especially trying to combine it all. And we are all trying to figure it out. I am not going to claim that I know these things. I think I have good ideas. My job is to kind of have ideas and put, have us test them. At the same time, you guys are intelligent human beings, and in every aspect of this, and this is also a massive principle in just sales in general. Why did you call? Why do you want life insurance? Why are you protecting this person? Why are you afraid? Why? Getting into asking questions is also a very important thing. Have an open mind, first principle thinking. The idea, have a good plan today is better than a great plan tomorrow. We're figuring this out. So there are always going to be times, Evan knows I can probably to a fault plan. And so we are more in the action mode right now. So just also understanding there are going to be times where we can probably have other things figured out, but we are still in action mode. We're always going to be in action mode. And if we always continue to pick a good plan today, eventually we will only be left with very good options. So, and then just remember what you can control and focus on that. And this sales is very, very, very simple. This is a complete numbers game. So, and there are many things that you can't control in this. You're dealing with people, exclusively people. So, getting into what we can control and committing to that is important part of the process.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for listening to me on that high horse. What do you guys think? Thoughts? Any comments?
Not a whole lot from me at this point. I mean, I like the sound of all of that. I think it is, I know I've mentioned this to you before, but I think it is super refreshing, like just being a new agent coming into the industry and like just seeing how other people do it and how other people just approach the world of selling life insurance. It's refreshing to be in an environment like this where it's like you're treating it more like a serious business with things like standards and principles and just general I don't know if ethics is the word you use, but just like just trying to at least do things the right way and have just company standards and everything. It's just it's definitely refreshing, and it's also like I'm excited to get in there and also embrace that idea and that process of figuring it out kind of as we go, because I do think there's probably, I mean, I don't even think probably, I think there is going to be a lot of room to if not make waves completely, just at least like find new ways of doing things, whether it's the sales practices or really anything, just the way we organize data or information or gather information or do marketing. Like I think there's going to be so many, or lead generation. Like I think there's going to be so many things that are going to be new and exciting. I'm excited to dive in.
Me too, buddy. Thanks for saying that. Me too. Ben, anything?
Yeah, no, I mean it's exciting all around. I mean, this is coming on the HR side of me, but I think just thinking from the culture and just onboarding perspective, it's going to be interesting to see that kind of grow and kind of figure itself out. Because like I know like even when I was kind of going through things and we were talking, like I had my commentary and kind of figuring out like, oh, like new agents should have a password keeper, because of all the different things they'll have, so just kind of seeing how that grows and what kind of what other agents you'll get, whether it's through your partnership or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, and
really interesting.
that'll be the other thing, dude. I'm excited to, sorry to cut you off, but you mentioned new agent. Like I'm excited to just get to talk to this guy, David, I think you said his name was, or really any agents that have some experience, like just getting to talk to agents face to face, that to have them, the fact that we'll have kind of a mix of people at different levels in here, both some of us with a beginner's mindset, hopefully, and then some people who are more seasoned. Just like I'm just excited to pick people's brain and just really like learn how to get started and just have some confidence instilled and that kind of thing. People who have experience closing and that kind of thing.
Okay, beautiful. Anything else, Ben? Was there something else?
No, I mean, you know, I can't help but keep thinking back to my short time with Equitable, and while I was, you know, yeah, basically an unpaid intern going through all the different classes and everything. It was just, it was an interesting time, but like, I don't know, it'll be, I don't know, it's just interesting to kind of compare and
Yeah.
contrast
Yeah.
that experience versus this one. Um,
Well, oh,
but
well, when we get farther through this, I would love your input on this whole process because I'm pretty, yeah, this is all, we are all learning this. And
it's a work in progress. Yeah.
yeah. And kind of on this note, what I have come to realize over the last few days, and this is what we're going to start jumping into. I am going to focus very heavily on the things that I know, that I am comfortable with, that I do have experience with, which is the business building, which is lead generation, the marketing, these types of aspects. Because the truth is, like, I don't have a lot that you can't find everywhere else out there on sales. Now, granted, I will tell you everything I have to know about sales, but I think this is fundamentally one of the things, like, this is just a skill. We're going to get experience in this. I am going to be focusing most of our time, at least at the beginning, giving you the fundamental aspects of this to really give you as many opportunities as possible. Because what the sales is, that is the only bit of information that there's plenty of in this industry. And also too, we're going to be trying things differently. So it's going to be, well, I don't want to say we're trying things differently. This is we're doing telesales, and there isn't a lot of that. There's so much information on just sales tactics, but we are also going to be jumping into all of our own different ways of doing this, that the emphasis is going to be more on the business building, how to do good business practices, and then together we will be learning the sales aspect of it, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Jumping back over to the new agent aspect of this. So we went through the culture. The very next thing on that note, kind of on that last comment that I was making, as far as the sales, this sales process is relatively simple, and you all know that we have a system that is taken care of and will walk us through the majority of this. So the actual, what I have absolutely come to believe in my heart now is the wealth spring in this industry is lead generation. Because yes, there's a whole gambit of this, from generating your own. So there's a direct give off between, like, how much effort it takes or how much they cost. And so, and right now I know that none of us are really in a position to spend several $1,000s buying leads. And this is one of the biggest hurdles in this industry. And so this is actually something I'm very grateful for your help. We need to figure out how to overcome this. And I have lots of ideas, and there are lots of ways that this can be done. But this is one of the aspects that I want to spend a lot of time at the beginning, because if we can figure this out, it's the saying of, like, give a man fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish, you feed him for life. This is it. This is learning how to fish in the insurance industry. So this is the next thing right after culture that I'm just jumping into, because if we have unlimited leads or a ton of leads, it's very easy to practice sales. We can deal with the other things. Okay. So,
and just to echo that really
yeah.
quickly, I don't know if you've been introduced or heard about him through Seth or whoever, but there's a YouTuber that I've come across that I've listened to a couple of times, who's a life insurance agent. His name is Johnny Nitafan. There's others, but he's one of the more, I'd say, like, modern ones, in the sense that he is somebody who's figured out that process of generating his own leads, just doing Facebook ads, basically. I just watched a video of his this morning, and he he was giving his kind of spiel on it. And he was like, I think this is 100% the future of lead generation, because he describes the process of, like, going through all these different lead vendors and trying to find, a good one, basically, and constantly figuring out, like, trying to do the math of, like, how much money am I losing, like, spending all this money. And and he went through that whole thing, that whole ordeal, but finally figured it out, and that's essentially what his channel is about. Not just that, it's the whole thing, but that's one of his main things, is talking about how he runs his Facebook ads, and creates spreadsheets and does that whole thing to really control the marketing. He's like, be your own CMO. That's kind of his whole thing. Like, learn sales, learn marketing. You have everything you need to be an agent, basically. So all that to say, I mean, it is very much true that is the future of the industry. I think not just from him, but I mean everybody that's trained with him and other people, like in the comment sections and stuff. Like, I do think like that is going to be, especially now that these tools are more widely available to people. Like, as soon as you learn how to use them, marketing tools, it should be pretty simple, just testing ads, figuring out what works, and then building the database yourself of leads. Like, we have all the means to do it.
Yeah. And that's just one aspect of this. I'm going to jump back in here, but so that's just paid marketing is just one aspect of this. And there are many different levels to this. So, before we just get too focused on that, with this, what I do want to talk about, because this can be very, I think, personalized, although I think individualized, although I think we're all in the same pretty much financial situation. So I think I know that we're probably are following on this side of the spectrum of capital. Yes, I think let's just take does anybody here have $1,000 that they can spend right now purchasing leads? Anybody? Or is it a no? Nope.
Going
okay.
once, going twice.
Not one. Okay. So no, literally. So like in this industry, you're supposed to start with between $4,000 and $6,000 for purchasing leads. So I'm not even, and I knew that already, but I just wanted to get 100% confirmation, kind of buy-in on this. Okay, so guys, I'm going to be totally, this is the crux of what I believe this entire freaking business is it is ridiculously simple. It is a numbers game, and this is an absolute numbers game of how many people you talk to is how much you will sell. And so getting into this, I want to go about this differently too, because I think in this industry, there's basically two schools of thought: buy leads or do marketing yourself. And I think those are fine, but I think there are many, many better opportunities, especially starting from nothing. What I want to do, and we can personalize this, but I actually want to start right now and kind of dive into this, because I know I've already talked with you guys, but the next part is coming up with a lead plan. How the hell are we going to do this? Because this is the whole freaking industry, is just how do we get people to talk to, and how do we get quality people to do that? And you absolutely can pay for this. You can pay for live transfers. You can pay for appointment. Well, you can't. I don't know of many places that will just give you booked appointments. But I want to actually boil this down. And so we will have to kind of talk about goals and finances. But I think I'm going to do an overview first, and then we can dive into individualities, and maybe we'll do individual goals a little bit later. But I would like to actually set a strategy of how we can commit to generating leads. Because well, I'm going to jump through a little bit, but the process would be, although we don't have any options right now, basically, other than what I've got going, but basically defining your target demographic, figuring out how you're going to contact them, because there are tons of different ways. And depending on how much time or money you want to spend, it totally the difference. Identifying the pain points and solutions, then your marketing strategy, paid or organic. Well, we can't do paid, so we can only do organic. Okay, so that was the quick of how we would go about just leads, but right now we can only do organic. Some of the things I think I want to come up with a plan of basically using every avenue we can. Evan knows, because he's the other one that's working on this. We're putting a ton of effort into content creation. And one of the things that I have to, obviously, again, I can't insist on anything. Well, I don't know. If we are going to succeed in this, we need to basically take every approach that we can. And from here on out, for whatever reason, when I think about leads, I think about fishing a lot. So just know that. And I'm going to use that example a lot. So throwing out as many lines as you can in whatever, even if you don't know if the bait's very good, just having it in the line, at least you can get a bite. and throwing as many out as you can. And sometimes you'll learn something crazy about it. Like, wow, I hit
Yeah.
it hit right at when I was at the boat, or right when I cast, or man, they hit on a bare hook, any of these things. So in order to do this effectively, and this actually translates in the future too. This is not just about first leads. This is also building the skills of getting referrals and follow-ups, but really having that mentality of like, it is my job to learn how to talk with people and start these conversations. And the one with social media right now is, I would really encourage getting Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, Evan's already helping me on those aspects of it, but if we start getting in here, and like we said before, and we've kind of, we'll talk about the target demographics a little bit later, but we start doing the organic efforts of reaching out to our target demographics, and just if nothing, I mean, at the bare minimum, starting to make connections. And we can start just starting conversations, because this is a way of prospecting. This is a way of generating leads. This is a way of getting feedback. And we have many, many tools available to us to start generating leads. So this is one of the things that, you know, if, do you both have, I know you both have Facebook, right? Ben, do you have Facebook?
I do have Facebook, believe it or
Okay.
not.
Yeah, no, that's fine. What about LinkedIn?
I do have a LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't have the exact plan right now, and we can kind of talk about this. I can explain to you what I am doing, but basically I want to implement another system of, or another way where we spend a half an hour to an hour a day, at least, you know, at the beginning, joining groups, making comments, and just trying to stir up any type of any lead. And the leads,
Yeah.
so the avenue that I want to go, and I think this is the same way David came in, and he had about $1,000, and he was like, I was just going to buy old leads. And we still might go down that avenue, but I think I have tried really hard, and Evan is pretty aware of this, of coming up with different ways where we can generate leads without just having to pay right off the bat.
Yeah.
And I think I have two different approaches that can play to each other quite well, as far as at least getting leads and starting the process. And the two things that I want to be doing is, I want to be talking to sports teams about helping them with their fundraisers. Have we talked about that, Ben? I know Evan has.
I know we've talked about a few different things. I think
Yeah.
what you have there is kind of, you know, what we talked about in the past.
Yes. So I will explain this again. And there's, you know, so we're going to kind of figure this out. And then Evan, you know, we might have to make a couple of videos just specifically for some of these tweaks. But
Yeah.
we're also going to have automations backing all of this shit up too. So like, we have a
Yeah.
lot in our corner. Here is the
Yeah.
tentative idea that I am pitching. Is we have kind of we spend our time in two different demographics. One of them right now, and we're basically going to be cold calling or organic prospecting. And there's tons of ways of doing this, but in Oregon, and we can do all of Oregon, we are going to be looking to contact any fall coaches or schools, talking to any of the sports teams that are going to be coming into season. That is our target demographic, because what we are going to offer is a fundraiser. And I'm even going to dumb it down way more, Evan. I think we've been trying to overcomplicate it. Basically, straight up, we will give you, and we'll have some educational videos up front, and we'll really kind of warm them up, understanding what it is. But basically, $20 for an appointment. Like, if you book an appointment with a life insurance agent to look at options, we will donate $20 to your team. So it's kind of like selling candy bars or whatever. And we're going to have to go about this and just making sure we're very upfront. And, you know, guys, this is going to be a process. This is sales. This is straight up sales, but this sales, you know, we're selling, trying to give money away. So I will just, what are your thoughts on school fundraiser? Ben.
Dude. Oh yeah, Ben, please.
Evan, I know.
I didn't realize
I
you
have
got two
lots of
Bens.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's definitely a great way to go, because I mean, obviously you've got plenty of free kids that can go bug their parents, be like, hey, both of you go make an appointment, because they don't necessarily have to like, we don't have to close a deal with them,
Yeah.
it's basically free money for them at that point.
That's exactly what it is. And
Yeah.
go ahead, Evan, go ahead.
Well, the one thing I was going to say first is this is a much easier gateway into sales as far as like we're selling an offer first rather than actual life insurance.
Yes.
So it's like this is like a nice little warm-up exercise, if you will. I think, and I was kind of telling Seth this last night. Like I already know I'm like one or two conversations away from a couple of sports team, like at my old high school, for example, where I think I could talk to the coaches or the athletic directors, whoever it would be, pretty quick, like either in a phone call or in a face-to-face conversation about this. Once we have an offer kind of dialed in, I mean, it already sounds like we pretty much do like $20 for a booked appointment kind of thing. But once all that stuff is set up, like I'm very confident this is a much easier sale than like life insurance itself.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about a few of the things that I think make this actually a little bit better too, is if we just get like one sale, we could have dozens or hundreds of leads from something like that. If you get one coach that says, yeah, we can do that, then we can get to these kids. Some of these football teams have like 80 kids. If you get 2 leads per, that's a lot of leads.
Yeah, 2 parents. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is one. The other thing too that makes this really, really cool is the way that we're going to build it out and say, hey, we're going to, do this for a week or 2 or whatever it is. And at the end of a period, we will tally how many appointments we had and pay you. But that means we have an opportunity to sell and make money before we even pay for the leads. So it's kind of a really cool little cash flow. Woozy. So
dude, and the way I think in the past, Seth, you explained the math to me, it's like even paying $20 for a 1 in 5 conversion, something about that, like it's still a ridiculously cheap method of acquiring leads relative to how much it usually costs for this quality.
The best leads that you still have to call and dial, the best ones that have no connection whatsoever are mailers. Those are $35 a piece. And those convert maybe 1 out of 3. So this is a very superior way. Obviously, we are doing more on the front end. We are cold outreach. We are cold outreach. But yes, I also do think this is a much easier pitch of, hey, we want to give you money. Can you talk?
Yeah, just to talk, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing, Evan, what I would say is we are going now. Well, I mean, we are like rolling and this is actively going. I would, if you guys have anybody in mind, just start the conversation, because you could just say, hey, I've got a fundraiser. We're working on a fundraiser. Are you interested in talking? This is all sales is just getting a conversation and sifting. We're not trying to sell anybody. We are trying to.
Well, we're selling yourselves really at that point.
Yeah, Evan's probably heard this a million times, but so one of my sales principles, which we'll get to in sales training, is this is one of the best lines from a book, but a salesperson, your job is a professional sifting. Your job is to not turn no's into yeses. Your job is to find the yeses and to convert the maybes. But your job is to get to those yeses and maybes as fast as possible. So just starting that conversation, if you just get no's are great. And not only that, part of the process that we're going to learn, any of those no's and all of those no's, because there's just a lot of rejection in sales, which is great, especially cold outreach. We can learn to ask for referrals. That's fine. Even if you got them on the phone, no, I'm not interested. That's totally fine. I didn't actually expect you to be. Do you happen to know anybody that might be, though? We're trying to give away free money. Okay. So that is one part of this equation, because I think, and granted, well, if this works, I think this can pay for itself. But even so, I don't think we're in a huge threat of financial bind, because the numbers just pay out. If we get 100 leads, now granted, that's $2,000, but that maths out. I actually did this. So if your average, and even if we're only getting advanced on a monthly basis, if we convert a 25%, which I don't know, that's
conservative.
That's your in-home presentation. I would assume with very, educated leads,
Decent,
and if we warm
yeah.
that up and they know like, hey, I'm coming to talk to a life insurance agent about life insurance, that
Yeah.
should give you a pretty fucking high conversion rate. Pardon. But even at that, if you convert it to 25% and on average you get 80 policies, that is $2,000 a month for 12 months. So in the very first month, you will double your money back, and then you will make that amount of money for the next 11 months. So there is so much meat on the bones. If you can get, and not only that, here's the other thing too. I am super confident if you get booked appointments, you can sell those puppies for 60 to 80 bucks. So if we can get leads, this is the whole game. If we can get leads, folks, you will never have to worry about money again. I'm
Right.
pretty darn confident
Whether
about
or
that.
not we can even sell them ourselves, like just having leads itself is a valuable
And,
asset.
well, the beautiful thing, if you can just get appointments, all you have to do is get more appointments. Because even if your
Yeah.
conversion rates are really low, if you know how to do this, you just have to do more appointments. This
Yeah.
right here is the actual skill. Because the truth is, and you can learn this, like life insurance is not, and we will become experts. There's a whole thing about this, but you will be fine. If you can just get people to agree to an appointment to talk to you about life insurance, you will be very fine. This is the actual skill in this industry. I believe that wholeheartedly. So that is going to be, I think, where we're going to spend half of our time. The other half of our time, and I do want your guys' feedback on this and how you feel, is prospecting business owners. And there's several reasons for this. One, if we can just talk to a business owner, business owners answer the phone and they're open to buying. But business owners are going to be, they have the biggest need for insurance, for life insurance, particularly because they make a lot of money. They don't have any options through their business. They have way more financial responsibilities. They have tons of financial responsibilities. They have a lot of money, and so they can have advanced products. Not only that, they have their employees that we can sell to. So if you haven't, so I will tell you specifically, my approach to cold calling is we're going for, if you can think of a better term, I'm calling them the rainmakers. Like the people where if you can get them to say yes to something, you can get a lot of leads. That's what I'm trying, or big policies, or both.
Yeah.
So, and my approach to this with business owners, we are going to approach them. And did something just change? Sorry, my screen just changed. You
Looks the
guys
same
still
to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe approaching business owners, the way that we are going to do this, and we can change this, we can tweak this. This is going to be part of the sales process. I want to approach them under basically starting the conversation of reducing their taxes. Because there are several, and these are the ways that we can do this. And we have multiple downsells that we can do. The very first one is just for yourself. Like this is there's a whole bunch of stuff in advanced products. We will talk about this. I won't just leave you hanging. There are some great options for them where they can really take massive advantage of taxes and savings. Huge, massive. Most lucrative products in the financial world for people with a lot of money. So that would be the first way to reduce taxes, and it's all tax stuff. The other way is their employees. So that's a tax write-off. So how do we get your employees? So that's kind of another shift. If they're like, I'm not interested at all. Man, there's like a third one that just keeps coming in and out of my head. I know there's a fourth one. The other one that I can think of right now is, even if they're not interested in that, and we will have to discuss this next part, we'll have to make sure we're super above board, super transparent, super honest, but we're going to ask them for money to sponsor their local sports teams. So this is going to put money in our coffers, and we can be totally transparent with them and just say, hey, we're really working hard. We have an educational platform. We're trying to get it out there to help school-age parents get this word out. This is what we're going to do. We have this fundraiser over here. Do you want to donate some tax money for that, which is also a tax write-off? So those are kind of the offers that we can do. And if any of these things start a conversation, there's your lead. There's
Yeah.
there's an appointment.
Is the other one access to their network? Is that part of this too? I know that was something we had talked about a while ago, like a business owner, like access to their clients as potential leads as well by leaving like a QR code or like a info
Oh,
thing
that's
about life insurance in their business. Is that another thing?
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the other thing we can talk about.
Mm.
Thank you. It's not taxes, but it is another thing we can talk about businesses. That is
Right.
the
Yeah.
other thing. That's why I couldn't freaking grasp it. Thank you. Thank you, Evan. Here's another thing that we can talk about. So the fourth topic that we can just talk with these business owners is we have a potential partnership where it is we would be willing to have a giveaway where we give their clientele gift cards to their establishment for basically, and Evan, I'm changing it a little bit from what we
Sure.
were talking about before because I'm changing it the same way for the other offer.
Yeah.
Basically, the same offer, $20 for an appointment. We and maybe we won't. Obviously, we're gonna have to iron this out, but we can partner up with businesses that say, "Hey, we will give your clients gift cards to your establishment if they help us out in our business, if they either sign up for an appointment or if they fill out a survey or if they give us feedback on a video." So we
Yeah.
also have something where we can talk to a business owners. And Evan, since you kind of understand this and I'm kind of butchering it and I wasn't, would you explain to Ben a little bit better what
Talking about.
that idea was? Yeah.
Yeah. Originally, how it came up, I mean, in my mind, obviously this could work for a variety of different types of businesses. Seth and I were originally thinking of bars and
Mhm.
barbers as well. I think barber was an easy one for me. I'm really close with my barber, like went to high school with him, all that kind of thing. And, you know, you're sitting there in the barber chair having a conversation for like a good 30 minutes, whatever, anyways. But the idea was like, they are certain types of businesses like that are just super ideal for one access to their network, especially barbers, because they have regular recurring clients that come in every 2 weeks or whatever on average that trust them, that know them.
Mhm.
So getting to partner with a barber like that would be huge because it would mean that we could, you know, they could do a little bit of selling for us, whether we have a little in like QR code that says like book an appointment with a life insurance agent today, and they say, hey, if you just scan that and make an appointment, it helps me out, it helps you out, it helps them out. Like it's one of those things. Like they're just sitting there in the chair anyways. Could be a really easy business to tap into. The kind of hurdle we're trying to overcome, I guess, is like um, I talked a little bit about this with my barber. I haven't gotten into like a full sales pitch at this point, but he was kind of the mindset too. He's like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like the idea is like, if you want to pay for access to my network, essentially, or that was what it was. Like, it feels like you should be paying for access to my network. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think that's what we kind of need to figure out is who to compensate and at what stage of the access, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and so and
Mhm.
obviously that's just for barbers, but any local business, you know, it's like we just want to have some way that they're either getting appointments booked for us or getting people educated for us, or you know, and then it just figured, and then you know, originally we were trying to decide like maybe we compensate them in little increments, like you get compensated more for a booked appointment and a little bit less for just watching a video, for
Yeah.
example. But
Mhm.
Yeah. And
we're
and
trying to
I'm
kind of
yeah.
decide that.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds because I'm very good at doing that. So I'm going to try to keep it just kind of more top level just on this because we do have a lot. But
Yeah.
basically, yeah, the whole and what we can just say on the same premise, let's just keep it simple for this conversation. This isn't in concrete, but basically we will give them we will give $20 and a $20 gift card for their establishment for anybody that they can get to book an appointment. So if it was like a barber, we could say something like a $20 gift card for your next haircut for anybody that books an appointment. If it was a bar, we can say, hey, and then we will have something there where we will have a certain way where it's like, hey, you showed up, you have a QR code for a bar, like here is your $20 gift card for this bar. And the beautiful thing about that
Yeah.
is that's guaranteed revenue for the business. So
I like that.
yeah, and we don't need to get too hung up on that. I don't want to get
Right,
too
right.
much in the weeds, but
For sure.
we can approach businesses with those, basically those 4 offers. Like, hey, you want to talk about reducing your taxes, and we can really, we're going to keep prospecting. We can try all of these different approaches. We can see if the giveaway works better. So I stopped sharing, but that's actually what I was this thing over here, that's what this small business partnership. So the small business partnership is this thing, figuring out. And yeah, Evan, I do think right now we need to just focus on leads. So a 3-step funnel, too much.
Yeah.
We're just,
Yeah, that's what I
right
think
now
too.
it's like, listen, $20 for an appointment. If we can work
No, I
this
love
out,
that.
yeah, I'll give you $20 for an appointment. If you
It's
you
so
can give this,
concrete. It's so simple, dude. Yeah.
and so that's another thing. And we'll just leave it there because I don't think you guys want to go door to door. That is also an option, though. We do have door to door.
Yeah, yeah, because like I'm thinking about in the context of, well, I guess Oregon and California. But like, you know, since I live in Brookings, Oregon, I could, I'm closer with my landlords. I could kind of talk to like, hey, if you guys know anyone or if you guys, are interested in having a conversation, kind of revisit it, things.
I'm
Just kind of get connected that way. Or I know I think it's for Crescent City, but there's like 1 or 2 Facebook groups that I'm part of. That's kind of a free buy sell page that, would be kind of a easy starting point. But that also means that I'd have to, one of us or I would have to actually get a license for California.
yes, and that'll be, and for right now,
Yeah.
I figure,
But
let's just focus on what we've got right now. Let's not spend any more money. Let's just start generating leads. There are plenty of fish in this Oregon pot right now.
yeah,
Let's just
yeah,
start, and granted, we're all learning this process. So like,
yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
need to go drop. I think it's like $350 in California. Like, I just looked at this because I was just down
Is it?
there.
I know it wasn't
It's
cheap. I know it was like at least a couple hundred,
I think it was like a
maybe it's
couple
more.
hundred for the life and like a couple hundred for the health.
Oh,
And that, because I remember it being like, damn, $350. So you're right. And part of this too, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but that's actually part of the progression. This is part of the things that I really want to help with as the agency owner is, once we start making money, we're going to start talking about how to use it properly, because there are better way, like supplementing this, buying your own marketing or booked appointments, or
mhm.
what is the best time to get more licenses, because that actually is, I would say, earlier. That's just going to give us more options. At the same time, we got to put food on the table. So
Yeah.
but right now, okay, so that is basically, granted, we have a ton of other training that we're going to go for, but the thing that I want to start kicking off as soon as possible, and we'll talking to anybody and everybody about this. You can start prospecting. You can say, hey, we're finally starting to do this. These are all of the options we have. Also, the raffles, you can start talking to people and we'll get more formal. Ben, just as a reminder, anybody in our agency that gets a quote is entered into a $1,000 giveaway, and anybody that buys a policy is entered into a $10,000 giveaway. These are things you can just be talking with people right now, like your landlords, being like, hey, if you have any interest, like, hey, you can post something on Facebook. Hey, just started doing this, still ironing a few out, but if anybody's interested, if you just want a quote, you're entered into a $1,000 giveaway, or and these are the things why, and we will get more into it, but why social media, I think it's going to be pretty important for us to take advantage of that. Unless you get to a point where you're like, no, I'm just good. I will pay, and that's totally fine.
Mhm.
I'll pay for leads, but right now we need to throw every line we can in the water.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your guys' thoughts specifically on business owners and sports teams?
Dude, I love it.
I mean, I think that's kind of a great way to start getting into the communities, just kind
Okay.
of get the word out.
Okay.
Um,
Beautiful. Okay. Well, before I just dive right into this, because I totally get time blinded because I get super excited about this. How are you guys on time? What do you have
I'm
as
good.
far as commitments? Okay.
I got a little bit of time for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start. And this is really where the brainstorming is gonna, and I want your guys' input. I
Mhm.
have some ideas on this, but right now, we're really now at this point, it's just a matter of just kind of white knuckling sales. And I have looked into this a bit. There are literally countless ways of finding this contact information. For sports teams, there is something I can't, Evan, were you in sports in high school?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you know OSHA. No, OSAA.
Yeah.
OSHA similar.
OSHA's. Yeah.
OSAA has, which is the Oregon Sports Athletic Association. They have something, and I don't have it right now. Oops, I hope that's okay. I was gonna say. They have a list of every freaking school. .org, it should be. So the next steps, which actually I'll just go back to this. Am I still sharing? Oh, I am sharing. Okay. This right here is the contact methods. Now, figuring out how we are going to contact these people. Okay, so obviously, guys, there's zero shortage of numbers for businesses and numbers for sports teams. Some things as far as sports teams, high school age. Okay, let's just keep it there. I think
Yeah.
there's plenty in there, but literally there's many ways of doing this. When it comes to schools, you can contact coaches are great. Booster clubs are great. Are you familiar with like what a booster club is?
Yeah.
It,
They raise money for the school.
it's literally been, it's the people
Okay.
it's a little club, usually of parents, that's their whole job is like organizing fundraisers. But what I would like to do is find these lists of contacts. Let's literally get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of numbers and any type of contact information that we can get. Phone numbers are absolutely going to be the best. But that is going to be step one, is getting a list of numbers to dial. And so because we're both in here, I figured, we might as well split it. And honestly, this one, I'm going to put this one on you. Well, yeah, this is going to be on you guys. And I'm going to be putting this in, doing as much as I can, but I'm trying to do the agency stuff. If we can, I would suggest one of you focusing on getting just a shit ton of numbers for schools, because you're just going to find that main vein, and then somebody else just getting a shit ton of numbers for businesses. And so those are suggestions. But what are your thoughts on those types of ideas, and how would you go about this? Or opening up the floor for discussion.
I mean, I like the sound of that. I mean, my initial thought is like I was planning on kind of approaching the businesses and sports teams I'm already close enough to where I could have a in-person conversation with them. I mean, I guess telesales or doing any sort of stuff over the phone is like, in my mind anyways, it's like a +1 skill point from being able to talk to somebody in person. Like I feel way more confident talking to somebody in person than I do selling somebody's that I don't know cold over the phone. So I was personally gonna start there and just like just get some appointments with talking to people where I can. The idea of reaching out to somebody in like Astoria, Oregon, to me like seems so far-fetched. I mean, I'm very new, so like who knows, like this could be way easier than I'm making it sound, but to me it's like I feel like again, it's probably just me overthinking it or whatever, but like to me, trying to appeal to a sports team out there somewhere where I'm not even connected or close to or something, and they're like, some insurance person wants to talk to you about giving money or something for something. Do they have a track record? I don't know. It doesn't seem like they've done anything. They don't have a website. Like, I don't know. There's all those little things like in my mind that just make that much more difficult for me, but business owners that I already have a warm sort of introduction to, or in sports teams that I already sort of have a warm introduction to, I could see starting there. Cause yeah, I mean, dude, as far as that goes, like I could also see a world where I kind of just shut off the emotional side of my brain completely and just open up a Yellow Pages and just start calling random numbers. So, I mean, if that's the approach we want to take,
well,
you know,
and here's the thing, you know, and I'm just going to shoot it straight to you. Like that's,
yeah,
if you can't buy, you've got three options. You can buy leads, you can use your warm market, or you can do cold market. And so like the thing here, you know, if you're not going to have enough prospects in your warm market.
Right.
You know, because the part of this as well. And so, you know, and I don't know, I need to make that very clear, like that turning that emotion part off, that is exactly what's going to have to happen, because there's just not enough leads out there. Now, granted, start with the people that you do know. Absolutely. But the fact of like, you know, and I know this is it though. This is the whole crux of it. All of the sales, this is the part of it, because and here's the thing. Over 99% of the people are going to say no.
Right.
In this process, you know, and that's so let's talk about this, because I know we're hitting this right on the head, and it's, you know, a little uncomfortable, and I'm glad that you brought this up. But as far as, you know, this, I need to be very open with you. You know, this uncomfortable part, this is sales.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
So as far as, and this is one of these things too, we're in this position, it is scary. It is very scary. And this is cold outreach, but it is also, you know, this is cold outreach, and this is why we will figure this out. And there's going to be lots of no's. Maybe you are crazy, but here's the thing, man. We only have to get a couple of these things. And the fact of the matter is, if we've got to get over this hump, and if we figure this out, we start getting a reputation. You get one, you say, no, we're not. And one, we're not a scam. We're not a scam at all. We are sitting here. I am actively here trying to give you money. This is, and you're also going to fall into, you know, everybody thinks life insurance is a scam too. So,
right.
So
which that one I can, right.
Yes. And this is fine, because this is part of the things. This is why I actually want to dive into this, is a lot of the sales is the psychological part of this.
Right. And so I guess like the only stuff I would need to feel, you know, the level of confident I would need to start doing that is basically just being able to answer those few basic questions. It's like, how do they get paid? What timelines, what schedule, what does that look like for them? Like, as long as I know those key objections, the answers or whatever, you know, I feel totally confident.
Yeah. Beautiful. And that is exactly what I plan on doing. And that is exactly the type of feedback I am looking for. And I thank you for being open like that. Because that is exactly the plan. First thing though is just getting the list. Because sincerely, guys, like we should have we need 1,000 numbers a piece. If you can do that, I will so much in my heart. If you have 1,000 numbers to call, and we sit here and we come up with a good offer, and we will, you know, and it'll just be practicing, but coming back through, we will make money. We will get over it. If you call these people, and if, you know, we make contact with 1,000 people, that's not hard. This is the job though. So, okay. So, but this is, I know it gets your blood racing, and I'm not going to lie. At the first few times, many of the times, your heart will be pounding, because it's going to be totally new. It's kind of exhilarating though. So, but don't worry, do not worry. We will have a script you're confident in. We will have an offer you understand. We will have gone over the objections, at least pre-med, you know. But it's just going to be a matter. And I'm not going to lie to you either. The beginning of everything, you suck the most, it's the hardest. So at least we're not spending money on these leads, okay?
Right.
And at least we're not,
that's a big thing to,
and at least we're not dialing people that have been dialed for years, that have been trying to get off a list. And our offer is literally trying to give these people money, or, you know, we're trying to help you with taxes or give you money for your own stuff. And we can also start with the sports teams, you know, and I would encourage going back and forth, or we will come up with a system. But, you know, obviously, let's talk to sports teams first, because if something hits there, there are some leads. At the same time, these business owners, this was what I was talking with David. These business owners, these are great opportunities. They're probably going to be a little bit more difficult, but we also have the opportunity that this can fund the giveaway.
Yeah.
Or the sports team deal. So, you know, there is definitely a lot in there. Kevin, wow, Ben, I don't know where Kevin came from. Ben, what are your thoughts?
You know, I had a feeling I lost him, but
okay.
no, I mean, I don't know. I think just kind of figuring out what it looks like from here on out. I think also, like, for me, like, I don't know if I should have like an actual, you know, professional email from Sirrel number,
Okay.
or because
we can do that. We can.
I mean, I don't know what that looks like. You know, what your expectations were. I'm just, you know.
We had those before. That's one of these things. I mean, I don't really mind doing that. It's not much of it's $5. I don't mind doing that. We had that going. If we're going to start doing this, we absolutely can. From the beginning, though, I would, you know, we're telesales, so I am just going to recommend, you know, we're going to be on the phone.
Sure.
Because I also, once we get a little bit of this rolling, I have tons of automations where we can get these lists. We can do whole email campaigns. We can blanket these things. So we have lots of options. We don't have to do this. You don't have to do any of this stuff by yourselves. This is really what I'm trying to get here is getting into the process of dialing, getting into the process of talking with people, kind of coming up with the script, getting over that uncomfortableness, because I know you guys you're both brand new to this, and it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been down like a water slide or a roller coaster. There is that kind of extreme excitement at the beginning. It's just
excitement, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's definitely what that is. Yeah.
And here's the thing, you know, and we'll go through, guys, and here my balancing job is to make you feel as prepared as possible, while at the same time getting you out and successful as fast as possible. So we will sit here and you will feel prepared. You will have good ideas of what's to come. Also, at the same time, knowing you're going to have an absolute desire to want to fucking know everything, to have, like, you know, all the objections memorized. And that's just natural. And that can't be allowed, because it's a mind game of your own where you're like, you will build this up to be a huge thing. The fact of the matter is, especially business owners, dude, this happens all the time. Don't annoy people. The way that we're going to go about sales, we're good people. We're honest. We have a great offer. We're just asking you. We're just here to sift. Hey, man, I have something. I'm trying to give you money. I'm legitimately trying to give you money or save on your taxes. If you don't want to talk, that's totally fine. You don't have to talk. Do you know anybody else that might? That's all. And just learning how to do that. Just even being okay with being like, oh, I got rejected and my life didn't end. Like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's dive into the nuts and bolts. I don't want to take too much more time, but and we will reconvene tomorrow. But and here's the thing, guys, you know, I am basically your cheerleader and your helper. From here on out, this whole industry is going to be totally, you know, and I am going to put a ton of effort in here, but this is totally now dependent on you and your effort. So, you know, this is obviously we have some steps to go, but, you know, the faster we get through this, the faster we get phone numbers, the faster we start prospecting, the more we do of this, the faster we get through this process. So, you know, just kind of understand that this is going to be very different than having somebody tell you what to do, and just kind of being like, you know, being able to just kind of half-ass and still kind of get a paycheck, as opposed to like, man, if you don't dial, promise nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So tomorrow, I think, and I know we're busy and I don't want to just throw too much at people because that, I don't want to just overboard, but if we can get the training done and then starting the process and you guys can think about it, but and I will help as well, but getting the numbers for sports teams, getting the numbers for businesses, start this process.
Yeah.
We'll start doing this. And here's the thing, we need and think about the contacts. What were you gonna say, Evan?
All I was gonna do we have a platform or a place to collectively like keep these numbers? Is that something we need to worry about doing right now?
So for the time being, and this is something
I
great
know these aren't
question.
actual leads, I guess, but
These are actual leads. Do
Yeah.
not here's the thing. So
Yeah,
these are not qualified leads.
right.
These are cold leads.
Right.
But just understand, guys, giant empires, a giant part of sales is cold outreach, which is what this
Yeah.
is. And business to business cold outreach is way different and it's way easier. It's just a different process. So do not confuse yourself. These are gold, man. And here's the thing, in this realm, I know we talk a lot about leads and this and that. A lead is nothing but a shrivel of information that could possibly start a conversation. Now, granted, that's the
Yeah.
least qualified you can get. The more and more you can get to that point, but don't kid yourself. That phone number that you pull off of a website has the same potential as the one that you dial off of somebody that you booked an appointment on.
Yeah.
And so these are absolutely
Right.
as far as technology, and this is one of the things for the time being, and this is not ideal, but I'm just going to have you guys use my CRM, just my account. And so we'll probably have to trade off, because you can also use the dialer there as soon as we have any money, or the other thing, or actually, I shouldn't have just assumed that because the next step is paying for the system. We can also do that. I am obviously more concerned. My thought, either way, we can have that conversation before. Let's start just getting leads. We're a few days out either way from actually diving in and dialing. So we'll get some leads. The solution is you can use my system. My thought is, as soon as we get some money, like I said, there'll be some progressions. You guys can get your own system, which you will have your own phone number. It will be all to this will be your thing. For the time being, if you want, while we're just getting into this, you can use my system. We will have to which I don't think will be an issue, balancing out
Who's doing what or
who's calling.
whatever.
Yeah. The other thing too, none of this is dependent on any of my systems or anything like that. You can call using your own cell phone. You can there's nothing against that. The leads are great. We can do it in an Excel spreadsheet. We can import them. We will dive into the system because I have ways of importing leads into the system. But just understand, I do have these tools, but these tools just make it a little bit easier. At the same time, we're just at the very, very beginning. So just getting a list of numbers to contact, that's the bare bones of it. That's that first principle thinking. That's what we can control right now. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
so thoughts. How are you feeling, guys? What are your thoughts?
Definitely feeling good. I mean, I think I'm pretty confident. I mean, I can definitely commit to going and researching some numbers, phone numbers for, definitely sports teams. I just got into contact here now with somebody who works at the high school that I went to, and I'm gonna connect with him and see if he can introduce me warmly to the athletic people there. And like I said, kind of start with that. But I do also, I do think that, or I do understand at least that the cold outreach, just getting comfortable and familiar with calling and talking to people over the phone, especially business owners. I think you're right. It is going to be a much different conversation than calling a person at their house, on a Tuesday and asking them for a very direct, policy. Like, this is an offer that ideally is supposed to help the business in all those different ways you broke down, those 4 different steps or whatever. So it definitely feels a lot more reasonable, and I feel, yeah, a lot more confident talking to business owners in that context.
Yeah. And again, coming right back to it, I'm not going to paint it in any different light than it should be. This is not, this is the solution that puts in a lot more time and effort on our side. Once
You're
we're
right.
rolling, and we can pay for this. At the same time, this isn't that hard to figure out. And if you can figure this out, if you can cold call prospects, if you can because the other thing too, there are very few leads of, I guess, these rainmakers. If you can kind of really become surgical, this is kind of that ninja stuff, but not on the social media that we were kind of talking about. If you can really kind of learn how to get these big rainmakers, that is going to be a crazy freaking valuable skill, because because these are the types of people you can have one conversation and get 40 leads or 180 leads. And if we start figuring out, if we figure out the sports thing, we just have to get over the first initial. Once we get it figured out, we can freaking absolutely hammer it. There are 3 seasons a year and summers, but going through, and if we can put the effort in where we get dozens of leads at a time, there is not anybody there. It doesn't get better than that. It doesn't.
Right.
It just flat freaking doesn't get better than that. The business on this aspect too, and granted, we can also talk about it. If you'd rather just do the sports teams and not the businesses also just kind of another avenue of good policies, but also to kind of help supplement the sports teams, because now granted, and I don't know if this is a concern, it was a concern for David, but just kind of with the sports teams, if we get 100 leads, that's $2,000, which isn't a ton, but I don't know, if that would kind of break the bank. I also am not totally concerned that we would be in that. I think, and it is a risk, but if that bill can
we
be
learn really
floated,
quick, like, right.
And
no, I think,
if we get into, here's the thing, obviously I'm not a fortune teller, but if we get into a problem that we have too many appointments that we have to pay $20 a piece to, that is an absolute risk that I think has a very low negative outcome.
So I was going to say, worst case scenario, can't we sell that booked appointment to some other agent
That's
somewhere?
exactly my thought
They
too.
can front all the
So the other thing too, and we can also focus our efforts on sports teams. So keep this in mind. But either way, the next step, just being very, very simple, is coming up with a fat list of contacts, of a way to contact people. So the easiest way, and right now we're not totally in school, so we're going to have to go about this a few different ways, but we can also contact schools, contact just any types of year-round sports teams, club teams, as I guess is what they're called. But now, because I know you guys are smart, Ben, I've worked extensively with you on research projects. This is just some basic freaking demographic research, going through and finding some stuff. Any thought, on this? There's obviously thousands of businesses. We can go to Chamber of Commerce. As far as the businesses, I would be looking for, and again, I will jump in here and do my part in trying to help with this, but this is part of the job now. This is the job at the moment, is getting some numbers to dial. So if we can find big lists, but also at the same time, like getting on these Facebook groups, joining local groups, and asking just, hey, anybody interested in this? Anybody, all of these things. We've got some raffles, just starting any types of conversation. That's where we're at. So, trying to start these conversations. So how are you guys thinking? Do you think we want to prospect both businesses and sports teams, or do we want to stick to sports teams?
I don't really have a thought either way. I guess at this point, I could see either being super valuable. Or either being just as simple or just as complicated. Like, I kind of foresee the same sorts of hurdles in both. But honestly, I mean, it would be, I do think both are valuable. It just, it kind of is a matter of, how much we can handle between all of us. And I mean, I'm sure, is this something that David is going to be involved with as well as soon as we get him roped into these meetings?
I already had that meeting. I had this meeting with him
Okay.
already earlier today. And
Okay.
and we just discussed this, he came into here just expecting to buy old leads and dialing.
Right.
He had like $1,000 and I just told him, I said, hey man, I'm here to support you and I will support whatever way you can. I would be very hesitant to put all of your hopes on that $1,000 buying old leads to sustain you.
Right.
This is a huge problem, and this is one I'm actively trying to solve. There's a huge capital hurdle in this industry.
Well,
So,
and the thing, well, so maybe, I mean, this is just a suggestion. I don't know if this makes any sense at this point either, but if he is somebody who's more capable at this point than any of the three of us to spend money for leads, maybe it'd be best to have him be the one to start that sort of the marketing outreach, like the paid ads sort of idea. Like, hey, we're trying to
well,
test all these different avenues. We're trying to do all these different things, and
that's
paid ads on Facebook might be I don't know.
yeah, we're not going to go to that spot right now. Right
Mm,
now, there's not, I've been down this road.
mm.
And he's also very comfortable doing cold outreach. He said he's like, I'm ready
Oh,
to
okay.
get a book. But we got to be
Yeah.
really, really careful of just spending our money right off of the bat, because even on marketing and things like that, $1,000 is not a lot of money in marketing
Right.
or lead generation. Even buying leads. That is just again, to put this in aspect for you, Ben, as well. The top agents that are still purchasing leads spend $1,000 to $2,000, if not more, a week on leads. So that's in the grand scheme
Right.
of things, that's a really small drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
No, granted, hopefully. So in either way, so the plan is all we need is some numbers to start dialing. I'm on OSAA right now, osaa.org. I can send this to you, but
On there, it has all the contact information.
it did. Yeah, I was in here.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yes.
Yeah. My account.
Yeah. So, and again, we can come back tomorrow. I would like to come back tomorrow. We'll talk about the training. We'll also talk about this and just start working towards it. But really, the main goal right now is this is pretty simple. And I'm going to try, to prevent us from just talking too much, which is not my strength. And, just really trying to focus on this is simple. Let's get into it. Let's not spend too much time talking and planning. It is a matter of coming up with a way of just starting conversations and doing it without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing too, just really getting in the mindset, this is a huge numbers game. And so like Evan, it's great the people that you have and the people that but those are, even if they're only 10 people in the world of sales and the world of like telesales, that is as many opportunities as you can get in a minute in telesales. So,
Right.
and really you have every single number has something completely different behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't think I'm adding much value, just rambling at the moment. So I think I'm gonna end this.
No, that's perfect.
Okay, so for sure we can get the welcome training done tomorrow or by tomorrow. The next step also too, just start when you can, because this is going to be right next on the docket, going through that training 101. Any questions, please feel free. Let's really beat the crap out of this, because part of this is, becoming experts. And this is a super, super solid resource for that. So if you understand these things, there are very few questions in there you'll get that can't be answered by that knowledge. So we'll go through that.
Yeah.
And then we'll just iron out a little bit more, dialing. But it would be really nice if we could spend some time on the phone in the next, probably 2 or 3 days, just starting to prospect. And in any aspect too, every way we're fishing, folks. This is simple, very, very, very simple. And there are incalculable ways of starting conversations and figuring these things out. So anything you have, any other contact information, if you find things with email or if you can think of anybody, start throwing all of your lines in the water. You guys are licensed, contracted. I mean, we're working on this, but don't worry. I mean, you are contracted. You are one of the few people in this country that can actually protect people with life insurance. You have more knowledge than most. You have more resources than most. You are better prepared than most. So, have confidence in that. It's just now a matter of getting the experience and making those calls, which, guys, this is one of the most lucrative skills you can possibly have. And it's basically just learning how to be a little bit uncomfortable for a little bit because you have to talk with somebody that wasn't expecting your phone call. That's it. So,
yeah.
Okay. Any last thoughts or questions?
I don't think so. I feel pretty good.
Ben,
how you feeling, man? I know you're an over talker over there.
Oh yeah, all the time. I talk way too much. No, I mean, I think, just gotta dig into it and go from there.
Yeah.
And then if I have questions, I'll bug one of you guys. I'll bug the or chat.
That's the whole point. We will start. These are the skills that I am going. Yes. And really, guys, I do want you to know I am very dedicated to your success. So, and granted, I appreciate you understand where I'm at. I'm figuring out a lot of this, but hopefully you see the effort and the enthusiasm. And this is simple. This really is simple. That doesn't make it easy, but it is simple. So, okay. Yeah, guys, and this is one of these things. If we can figure out this very, very simple thing, the opportunities are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the same thing too, I am not going to be somebody that encourages you to try to sell to your friends and family. At the same time, don't be afraid to tell them about this. And because I know people that are probably in this demographic. Start those conversations, even with these raffles. But here we are. I want to really start encouraging you to start building this skill of starting the conversations about these things. And just in a way of sifting. We're not trying to sell. Hey, do you know anybody that might want 10 grand to learn about how to protect their family? There you go. That's all you have to ask. We've got some badass offers too. That's not a bad way to proposition somebody. That's a very hard fuck off for somebody to say.
Right.
I probably
make it difficult for them. Right.
I probably shouldn't cuss so much in training. But I get excited. Yeah. It's okay. I'm not really a boss.
Company culture.
I own HR, so
exactly.
All transparency.
All transparency. Yes. Yeah. Transparency. Just be totally transparent with you. There's nothing you can really do about it. And okay, gentlemen. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. I know this has been a long time coming. A long time coming. So we are here. And yeah, we really do. I know it doesn't maybe seem like it. We have way more assets and way more opportunities than the vast majority of agents out there. So we have no excuses. It's just a matter of effort. So let's fucking do it.
Sweet, dude.
Cool. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Well, I will touch base with you both tomorrow, and we will just get a specific meeting time that works for everybody.
For sure.
Okay. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow.
All right, man. You guys as well.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.